Hello, everybody. Buddy, we're in Midland, Texas. Got a short video. This is going to be a really short video here today. And I got to thinking, after I survived the murder attempt, returned from the hospital, a friend from Hobbs, Mexico named Amy Kernan. I later blocked her because of online public slander, and I think she knows something. But either way, Amy Kernan suggested I go see her lifelong friend over in Odessa, who was an attorney named Sarah Kate Billingsley. And now Sarah is a judge over there. It's Judge Billingsley. The governor, Greg Abbott, he made her a judge, after I had went and seen her about the crimes at my house. But anyways, the reason I brought her up is because I remember Sarah telling me, says, this story's too long, you need to make it shorter. So that's what this video is. Let's just make it shorter. Let's just talk about a couple of the facts, and I'll leave out all the other many facts and details and pieces of evidence, and we'll just do, just the short story. And that's what this little GIF file is here. At 10:42 p.m. I'm seen crawling out. No doubt about that, right? 11:01, officers Woodward and Naylor are seen arriving. No doubt about that. They're caught on camera. 11:05, Lieutenant Dickie's inside my home, but he wasn't seen arriving on the camera. No doubt about that. 11:22, camera is disabled, but before that, Davis, Chatwell, Angel, and Hell are here. And then I'm asking, did some Midland Police try to murder me inside my home? This question must be answered for the public. For the safety of the public, please share this before you or your family is shot inside your home. Because if they'll break in my home and shoot me, there's nothing stopping them from, breaking your home, shooting you, we just, somewhere out there, we know we got some cold-blooded killers, whether they're police officers or friends of the police or what. We just know that I wasn't shot with my gun and somebody shot me, and then here's this mystery on these police, okay? And so I went down here and I paragraph, and I did that down here with, backed up with evidence, because it's one thing for Buddy to say that, this happened. It's another thing when I show you the evidence, and that way we can all say at 10:42 p.m. on January 28, 2012, I was seen crawling out after being ambushed and shot by somebody under my Midland, Texas home with burglar alarms going off in the attic and with my phone lines cut. That's why I crawled out, because my phone lines were cut. I'd been reporting repeated burglaries to my home, and there's lots of documentation showing you that. This is from my security camera. You can see it there. There's the timestamp, 10:42. I didn't know if I was going to live or die at this time. I was truly scared to death, and rightfully so. God saved my life. So keep in mind, that was at 10:42, okay? I crawled to my truck and left, went to the 7-Eleven, and, the other fact, Rosie meets me up there and then lies and says she ain't there. April Chandler lies and says she crawled to my truck, and all the other facts and evidence. But here, let's just keep it short. At 11:01 p.m., former Martin County Sheriff John Woodward and the late Midland County Deputy Mike Naylor were seen arriving on my front security cameras. They were not dispatched, and it took 6 years and a $2,000 reward to get them identified. Okay. Once again, there ain't nobody can argue these facts, right? There they are. They're caught on camera. I had their pictures 6 years before I got them identified, right? And and here's the timestamp, 11:01. So if they're not dispatched and they're showing up at my home minutes after a premeditated home invasion capital murder attempt, somebody needs to be asking them questions. And we can't ask Mike Naylor because now he's dead, right? So that leaves that former Martin County Sheriff, who's now a convicted felon. Maybe law enforcement needs to ask Woodward how to know, and why did he show up at my home minutes after a murder attempt? And I think the reason is he was under my home in the underground facilities when I was shot. At 11:01 p.m., former Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, I just did that one. Let me go again. I messed up. 11:05, okay, 4 minutes later, Lieutenant Dickie is inside my home, but he wasn't seen arriving on the security cameras that saw Woodward and Naylor 4 minutes earlier. All doors were secured, which is how I know he entered from the now removed trapdoor, which the ex-wife had already told me about, and from where I had been shot. Okay, so this letter right here at the top is straight from the police report that was illegally withheld for 7 years, and obviously you know why, because it placed this law enforcement officer in my home 4 minutes after Woodward and Naylor are seen on the cameras, and he wasn't seen arriving. Okay, so he didn't. It wasn't like Star Trek, and he materialized inside my home. And it's not witchcraft. He came in from underground, and keep in mind, you got multiple people now documented saying there's tunnels underground. Homes are here, right? I had just reported a suspected tunnel to DEA 2 weeks earlier. Law enforcement can ask them, verify that. And here's a timestamp of Woodward and Naylor showing up. Here's Dickie inside my home 4 minutes later, and he wasn't seen arriving. Somebody under my home shot me. We know that because I wasn't shot with my gun. At 11:22 p.m., my front camera is disabled, but before that happened, the police report showed that MPD officers Davis, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale were also at my home, and they were not seen arriving. They were under my home too. And I believe they also came in that same entrance. Okay, and so I parsed out the police report that I got 7 years after the murder attempt that had been illegally withheld, and I added here in blue that here at 10:42 I'm crawling out. At 11:01 Woodward and Naylor are showing up, and then here at Tony Dickie at 11:03 changes location. On scene, Matt Davis, that's a MPD Sergeant Matt Davis. He quit the law enforcement. He quit the police force the week after or right after the protective order here in 2013. Okay, here's a backer called Ramirez. I don't have him on the list, but and then here at 11:05. Dickie is inside my house because he's saying no one in the house, inside, and lots of odd things like booby traps. And just to make a point, no booby traps are checked into evidence. That was a lie that Dickie made up, and so let's be clear about this lieutenant lying on the police reports, which I thought was a crime, And then on scene, Chatwell, and that's at 11:18. My cameras are not disabled to 11:22. On scene, 11:18 is Kenny Angel. Okay, and on scene is Dylan Hale at 11:19, and then finally my cameras are disabled 11:22. Okay, and of course the cameras timestamp themselves when they were disabled. I have a video on it. 3 years, 3 months before this home invasion and capital murder attempt, the young previous owner of my home died after telling his friends that people were breaking into this home. And now it gets real interesting, right? It's not just Buddy, here dying at this house. We got Mike Lohan, the previous young owner, 27 years old, right? 2 little boys, growing up without a dad. I believe he was murdered here, carried to Fort Worth. Okay, he dies the week before the 2008 oil show started. That seems important, because it's believed that the underground home in the backyard was used for oil show parties, and that's where a young girl was murdered at in 2010. But we're keeping this story short, okay? And then this was, I was contacted by a friend that said she was friends with some friends of Mike, okay? And so they're good friends with Mike, the guy that lived in the house before you did, okay? He felt like people were in his house, how he knew people were in the house. He was telling people that these criminals were breaking in this house before he died. And remember, I had called multiple times and reported burglaries to my house before I'm ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut. And then we mysteriously have these police, magically inside my home, and they're not seen arriving on the camera, right? The Odessa American posted a death notice saying that Mike died in Fort Worth, and 4 days later posted a revised death notice saying that he died at his residence, which was his home in Midland. That confirmed what former neighbor Marilyn DeLucci told me twice. It looks like they're killing one homeowner after another. And, I believe that these same police officers should be investigated for the murder of Mike Lohan. That's what I think. That's what that looks like to me. And I'll just show you. This is Odessa American, posted on October 14th, saying he died in Fort Worth, and they posted a second death notice on the 18th, 4 days later, and changed the location of death to say he died at his residence. And that was the same thing that the neighbor told me, that he died in this house at his residence, which was for sale at the time. I'd already looked at this house by the time Mike died. So, I just feel sure that Mike Lohan was killed here and taken to Fort Worth. And they're killing one homeowner after another. I'm going to run through my letter give again here. And these are the facts, There's no way we can argue that. And so share this with your friends. I mean, this has got to be stopped. And because it's multiple murders. This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.